Now we go to Davos, where we're joined by Andrew Funk, journalist and the president of Homeless Entrepreneur, social impact activist as well, joining us. Now, thanks for being with us. Look, I understand that this World Economic Forum, it's a lavish affair, no expense spared, but for all this fanfare, I mean, do positive initiatives emerge from this event, or is a lot of talk, not a lot of substance? I mean, how do you see it?
Well, we've been actually sleeping out in a teepee since 2018 to give homeless people around the world a voice and presence. So there are definitely initiatives. They change. Some are here every year, some adapt. And it's an amazing platform for those that do want to communicate, and it really depends on who you connect with.
Yeah, I mean, you have so many influential people here, whether it's heads of state, major economic players, and attracting, the protest movements as well. So clearly it's seen as an important gathering here. What appears to be most pressing this year? I mean, from your perspective, from what's happening on the streets, what's the most pressing issue?
Well, if you look at the global risk review that they did for the next 2 years, the biggest risk is cost of living. And for the next 10 years, the biggest risk is mitigation of climate change. But I am quite surprised, and I would ask them to include homelessness because they have not included that in that report.
I think I recall climate change being, a major theme in previous years here. Is that still an issue that's coming up largely at the forum this year?
Well, you can see, you have a protest by Greta, for example, which is a cease and desist because they're saying that big oil hijacked what's going on with climate change. So it definitely is here. People are pushing and promoting it, but it seemed to be pushed back to a 10-year risk instead of the 2-year risk that they're pushing right now, which they put as the cost of living.
Now, how does Switzerland respond to you, coming out there in organized fashion, a protest movement, if I can call it that? Is there a lot of freedom to sort of express, your views, to get the attention of those in attendance here, or, are you sort of relegated to a certain corner, taped off? What's the situation there in Davos?
From my personal experience, right now I'm actually recording at a friend's place who I met while we were here sleeping out. So the locals have received us in an amazing way. It's a bit more challenging to participate in the Congress area if you don't have the badge, obviously, but we do have the opportunity, if people are protesting for change, to stop and speak with individuals in the street. And that really depends on the individual you're speaking with, but there's definitely the opportunity to do so. But you have to be very, very persistent and have a cause that connects with the people and companies you're speaking with.
That seems to be the big question here. We're talking about people inside this forum, they're drinking champagne, maybe there's some caviar going around on the tables here. Are they presenting solutions, for example, to the cost of living? That's such a major international issue. Is it realistic? Do you have expectations from this forum?
Well, I think there are two Davos, if you will, even have the undavos. And so the first Davos is those that are invited. So those would be the 2,500 guests and stakeholders that are here. And then you have everyone else that's participating in it as well. My expectation is that they have to align improvement of the state of the world with those that are here, which means it needs to include their stakeholders, but also everyday citizens and organizations around the world. So we're going to see what's going to take place. It's been a little strange because last year in May, it was quite slow. This year is faster, but it's not as fast as it was in 2020. So I think it's a little bit slower than normal, but in 2023, I think it's going to pick up speed as well.
Certainly interesting perspective from there. It is an important gathering nonetheless here. Thanks, Andrew Funk. Thanks for joining us from Davos, Switzerland.
Thank you.